right, good morning everyone. Thank you for coming out to the Green Bay Austin Straubel International Airport this morning. My name is Marty Piet. I am the airport director here at GRB. Today we're really excited to unveil a new Packers memorabilia display that we have been working on for quite some time with a local resident who I will be introducing in just a moment. So the Green Bay Austin Straubel International Airport, we try to be more than just a transportation hub where you catch flights in and out all day. We want to kind of bring a sense of place into our airport. And you can't travel anywhere in the world without mentioning the Green Bay Packers and somebody not knowing where Green Bay is and who the Packers are. So we're really excited to bring that sense of place into the terminal building today by unveiling the display behind me. Most importantly, I want to thank the Neville Museum and John Des Jardins for donating these items to the airport for permanent display. And without further ado, I do want to introduce John. John is with us today. He can tell us a little bit more about himself, the memorabilia, and maybe more in particular his grandfather, where these items came from when he played for the Packers, the original team in 1919. So with that, I'd like to introduce John.
Thank you. Well, it's a great honor for our family to have this display here in Green Bay. I grew up in Green Bay within the shadows of Lambeau Field. Went to elementary school just down the street, Jackson Elementary. And my grandfather, who I idolized, was my hero, was a former Green Bay Packer from the original team. So that sort of made me a celebrity in my school, because when they had alumni days, they would announce my grandfather, and it was my name. And it'd be like, I'd go to school the next day, forget all about it, and the teacher would say, "We have a celebrity here today." I'd be looking around, I wonder if it's the governor or whatever, and they say, "No, it's me." And it's like, so that made me a big shot for the day in the school, so it was really great. And my grandfather was just a farm kid up in Champion, Wisconsin, and he was going to high school at Green Bay East. They just had dirt roads at that time, and it was about a 10-mile hike from Champion to Green Bay East High School. So he had a bicycle, and he'd ride his bike every day to East High on dirt roads, and then go back up the escarpment back to the farm. And back in those days, sports was a little bit different, because the farm kids, and a lot of them in Green Bay were farm kids, they didn't even know about sports because they were working all the time. My grandfather was at East High and was chumming around with Curly Lambeau one day, and Lambeau was aware of my grandfather's prowess with strength and everything. Being a farm kid, he worked like a dog all the time. And he did that until the day he died. But at any rate, he said, "Hey, how'd you like to try out for a football team here at East?" And my grandfather had a puzzled look, and he said, "What's that football?" And Lambeau said, "Let me show you." And he took to it really well. Lambeau liked him. They did have an incident near the end of the season where they were practicing. They don't practice back then like they do today. So anyway, my grandfather hit Lambeau really hard and broke his leg, which cost him the next game. But anyway, Lambeau was the star, So World War I breaks out. My grandfather enters into the Army. War ends. Lambeau had been at Notre Dame, got sick, came back to Green Bay, missed football, and he said, "Well, I really have to have a football team." So he called up his old buddies from high school and around Green Bay area and invited them to play on the original Packer team. So that's how my grandfather got started with that. And Lambeau didn't hold a grudge because he invited him to play in the Packers. So that was all good. So anyway, I grew up idolizing my grandfather. My grandfather would get free tickets and take me occasionally to the games. Sometimes my brother got them and made me mad. So because I was so ingrained in going to Packer games, I would sneak into the games, and they had just chain link fences. You could climb those. There's barbed wire. We'd be bleeding, and jumping, and the guards would be chasing us around. And I developed different strategies. So there was one time I was looking for the fattest guard I could see who was taking tickets. And I thought, well, I can dive under that turnstile and beat it through before that guy can get me. And it worked. I did it. And there were other times, we shimmied up the corner of the bathrooms where they had a drain pipe. We'd get up on the roof and then slide down the other drain pipe. And I think the guards loved chasing us around because, and the stadium was open on the end, so you could just stand and watch the game. So it was really great. My most famous entry was for the Browns championship game. I was then about 14 or 15 years old, I think about 14. And it was the last championship game before the Super Bowl. We had 12 inches of snow. I told my mom, hey, Grandpa's taking my brother, and I'm going to sneak into that game. So I left early, and I noticed a service truck going in. There's only one guard. Well, that'll be a piece of cake. So I got on the back bumper of this next service truck, rode on the back, got in, and then my strategy was to hide in a bathroom. But I looked down on the field, and they were shoveling snow. So I ran down there, grabbed a shovel, started shoveling snow. And then the groundskeeper said, you can stay on the field. And at the end of the game, when we won, it was a totally muddy field. A Cleveland Brown guy came and knocked me down. And I looked up. I thought, oh, I got hit by a football player. How wonderful is that? Now, at one of the last Packer games, Patrick Mahomes knocked me down. And I just thought that was good, too. And I kept the video of that one. I didn't get the one from 1966, but anyway. So, it's just been a thrill to have this placed here. It's a great honor to our family. And so that's about it. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, they didn't sell tickets back in 1919. They just passed a hat. My grandfather said, well, we all split it evenly. Quarterback got the same as grunt like me in the line. I said, well, how much was that? He says, it was $16.75 for the season. So times have changed. But the love for the Packers is as good as it's ever been, that's for sure. And that's why we survived as a franchise. The community love for the Packers through thick and thin. I grew up in the 60s, the glory years, but then we had the 70s and 80s. The spirit of the Packers was just the same. It was great.
How exciting is it? I mean, just to have all this stuff from your family just here at the airport.
Well, it's great. I didn't even know we had it. It was after my grandfather had passed away. I went into their attic and opened up a trunk and found all of this stuff. So I thought, I need to preserve this. So it was really great that it was preserved up in a trunk in the attic.
Yeah, and then how's it feel to just have it here so everyone can see
Oh, it's a great honor to our family. Hopefully it's a great tribute to the city of Green Bay, too, that it was a franchise that started out like a lot of them started out, but it was the love of the people of Green Bay for the Green Bay Packers that allowed this to happen for this franchise. And it's the only one in the world that it doesn't have an owner.
Yeah, and I'm sure, we heard a couple of good stories. What do you want people to take away when they see this about your grandfather?
Well, it's just appreciation of common people that love football and started the franchise, and did it for essentially nothing, and just did it for the love of the game. And that's what it's all about. And that's what Packer fans are all about, too, is that it's the love of the game, And
Yeah, how important is it too, just, like you said, love the game, Packers community base, how important is it to keep this history alive?
Well, I think it's extremely important because it's the unique nature of the Green Bay franchise, the Green Bay Packers, and the love that the community shows toward them. And it's actually a worldwide phenomenon because something unique about a little town that has this huge professional franchise followed by people all over the world. It's incredible.
What do you think your grandfather would say right now if he saw this, what you're doing?
I don't think he could believe it. He would be shocked because, you know, he is an unassuming person. He's just a hardworking guy, you know, and did his job, didn't say a whole lot, you know, and that was it. You know, it was like, it is what it is.